I never thought I'd discover my husband's betrayal through a misdirected email. But that's exactly how my world started to crumble on an otherwise ordinary Tuesday morning. My name is Lila, and until 6 months ago, I was a senior software developer at Harrington Innovations. I gave up my career to support my husband Ethan's promotion, which required us to relocate. At least, that's what I believed until today. I was using Ethan's laptop to pay our utility bills when the notification popped up. The subject line caught my eye. Winter's situation, handled as discussed. The sender's name was unfamiliar, but the preview text made my blood run cold. Confirmed, L. Winter's resignation secured through arranged downsizing. Position eliminated as planned. Your promotion path is clear. My hands trembled as I opened the email thread. Each message revealed more details about how my husband had orchestrated my job loss, working with someone in HR to ensure I'd be part of a strategic restructuring. Hey, honey. Ethan's voice made me jump. I hadn't heard him come into the home office. What are you up to? I closed the laptop, trying to keep my voice steady. Just paying bills. He walked over and kissed my cheek, his cologne suddenly suffocating. You're the best. Hey, I'm thinking of inviting the new team over for dinner next week. Show them how well we've settled in. I forced a smile, remembering all the times he'd praised my sacrifice for our future. Sure, whatever you think is best. You okay? You seem distracted. His concern sounded genuine, which only made it worse. Just tired. I stood up, needing space. Actually, I might lie down for a bit. Take care of yourself, babe. I've got a video call in 5 minutes, but I'll check on you later. As soon as I reached our bedroom, I pulled out my phone and called Tessa, my best friend and the only person I could trust right now. Tess, I need your help, I whispered, fighting back tears. Remember when you said something felt off about my resignation? You were right. I just found proof that My voice cracked. Lila, slow down. What exactly did you find? Before I could answer, I heard Ethan's voice carrying up the stairs, talking to someone on his call. He was laughing, probably charming his way through another meeting, completely unaware that I'd discovered his secret. I can't talk now, I told Tessa. But can you meet me tomorrow? There's something I need to show you. As I ended the call, one thought kept circling in my mind. How do you sleep next to someone who deliberately destroyed your career while pretending to support you? I had a feeling I was about to find out. The next morning, I met Tessa at our usual coffee spot, far enough from home that I wouldn't run into anyone who knew Ethan. My hands shook as I showed her screenshots of the emails I'd taken with my phone. That manipulative bastard, Tessa muttered, scrolling through the messages. Lila, this isn't just betrayal, it's financial abuse. He deliberately made you dependent on him. I stirred my untouched coffee, watching the cream create patterns. I keep thinking about all those nights he comforted me when I was devastated about losing my job. He actually held me while I cried about something he orchestrated. Have you confronted him? I tried last night. Sort of. I remembered how the conversation had gone. He came to bed late, and I asked him if he'd ever done anything to influence my position at Harrington. The memory made my stomach turn. Ethan had laughed, kissed my forehead, and said, "Honey, you're not still beating yourself up about that, are you? Sometimes things just don't work out. But look how well everything's turned out. I got the promotion, we moved to a better neighborhood, and you get to focus on making our house a home." Tessa's expression hardened. Classic gaslighting. He didn't even answer your question. That's not all, I said, lowering my voice. This morning, I overheard him on the phone with someone named Nora from his office. He was laughing about how his little wife is so supportive, staying home while he brings home the bacon. God, what a Tessa caught herself, taking a deep breath. Okay, let's think strategically. You need to protect yourself. First, start documenting everything. And we should look into your legal options. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Where are you? The house is a mess, and we have guests coming tonight. I forgot, I groaned. He invited his new team over for dinner, including Nora. Perfect, Tessa said, her therapist voice sliding into something more calculating. This is your chance to observe him with his guard down. Watch how he interacts with his colleagues, especially this Nora person. Another text buzzed. Did you at least get groceries for dinner? He's right about one thing, I said, standing up. The house is a mess. I've been too distracted to clean. Lila. Tessa grabbed my arm. Stop playing the perfect housewife. He doesn't deserve it. I know, but I need him to think everything's normal while I figure out my next move. I forced a smile. Besides, I'm curious to meet this Nora. Maybe she knows things about Ethan that could be useful. As I headed to my car, Tessa called after me. Be careful. Men like Ethan get dangerous when they feel their control slipping. I nodded, but inside, something had shifted. For the first time since finding those emails, I felt a spark of something beyond hurt and betrayal. It felt a lot like power. The dinner party was going exactly as planned until I overheard the conversation that changed everything. I was in the kitchen, grabbing more wine, when Ethan and Nora's voices drifted in from the back patio. The bank's breathing down my neck, Nora. Ethan's voice was tense, nothing like his usual confident tone. If this deal falls through, I'm finished. What about your savings? The bonus from the promotion? Gone. Had to cover the losses from the Thompson project. If Lila knew how bad things are. He laughed bitterly. Thank God she's too busy playing housewife to ask questions about our finances. I pressed myself against the wall, my heart pounding. The wine bottle felt cold and heavy in my hands. You can't keep hiding this from her, Nora said. And using her job loss as cover for your mistakes? That's business, Ethan cut in. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a pawn to protect the king. Besides, she's happier this way. You should have seen her at Harrington, always trying to prove herself, competing with everyone. This is better. My fingers tightened around the bottle. Better? I'd cried myself to sleep for weeks after losing my job, while he'd been using my sacrifice to hide his failures. The guests are probably wondering about the wine, Nora said, her heels clicking on the patio tiles. I quickly moved to the counter, pretending to search for the bottle opener. Nora appeared in the doorway, startling when she saw me. Oh! Lila, I was just. She glanced over her shoulder. Getting some air. I smiled, channeling the perfect housewife persona I'd perfected. Beautiful night for it. Would you mind helping me carry these glasses? As we arranged the wine glasses, I noticed Nora's hands trembling slightly. She knew something more, something that scared her. You know, I said casually, I miss working in tech sometimes. The challenges, the teamwork. I watched her reaction carefully. Ethan's company seems like such an exciting place. Nora's face tightened. Yes, well, every workplace has its challenges. Before she could say more, Ethan appeared, wrapping his arm around my waist possessively. What are you two conspiring about? Just girl talk, I said, meeting his eyes. Something in my expression must have alarmed him because his grip tightened slightly. Don't keep our guests waiting, honey, he said, his smile not reaching his eyes. As I carried the wine back to our dinner party, my mind was racing. Ethan wasn't just manipulative, he was desperate. And desperate men make mistakes. Later that night, after everyone left, I opened my laptop and began searching for information about the Thompson project. If Ethan thought I was just a happy housewife, too naive to understand business, he was about to learn how wrong he was. 3 days of digging through financial records left me with a migraine and a horrifying realization. Ethan hadn't just sabotaged my career, he'd drained our joint savings account. The emergency fund I'd built up over years of careful saving was gone, moved into an account I couldn't access. I was staring at the bank statements when Ethan came home early, making me jump. I quickly switched screens to a recipe website. Surprise! He held up a bottle of wine. I thought we could have a date night. My stomach churned at his practiced charm. That sounds nice, but I have a headache. Come on, when's the last time we really talked? He started massaging my shoulders. I miss us. I forced myself not to flinch. Actually, I've been meaning to ask about our savings account. I was thinking of taking that coding course we discussed. His hands stilled. In this economy? Bad timing, honey. Besides, we need that cushion with everything that's happening at work. What's happening at work? Nothing you need to worry about. He kissed my head, but his voice had an edge. Just trust me to handle the finances, okay? The front door chimed, our smart doorbell detecting movement. Through the security camera feed on my laptop, I saw Nora walking up our driveway. Expecting someone? I asked. Ethan checked his phone. Quick work meeting. Why don't you go lie down? For your headache. I nodded and headed upstairs, but stopped halfway. Their voices carried clearly from the foyer. The auditors are asking questions, Nora said. We need to move the Thompson funds now. It's handled. I've got a backup plan. Using your wife's savings isn't a plan, Ethan. This is embezzlement. Keep your voice down, he hissed. Look, once this deal closes, everything goes back where it belongs. No one gets hurt. I must have made a noise because they both went quiet. I quickly moved to our bedroom, my mind racing. Embezzlement. The word echoed in my head as I heard their muffled goodbyes downstairs. My phone buzzed. A text from Tessa. Coffee tomorrow? Important update about your situation. I started to reply, but stopped when I heard Ethan's footsteps on the stairs. For the first time since discovering his betrayal, I felt real fear. This wasn't just about my career anymore. He'd stolen my money, and from what Nora said, probably other people's too. I texted back quickly, yes. Need lawyer recommendations. Then I deleted the message thread, put on my best exhausted expression, and pretended to be half asleep when Ethan checked on me. I'd thought I was trapped by my dependency on him. Now I realized I was trapped by something far more dangerous, his desperation to keep his crimes hidden. The company dinner was Ethan's idea, a celebration at La Maison, that pretentious French restaurant an hour outside the city. I knew something was off when he insisted on driving separately, claiming he might need to leave early for work. You seem quiet tonight, Ethan said across the table, his charm turned up to full wattage for his colleagues. Everything okay, honey? I forced a smile, watching him sip his third glass of wine. Just tired. It's been a long week. Lila used to be in tech too, he told the group, his hand finding mine on the table. His grip was just tight enough to warn me. But she chose family over career. Not everyone can handle both, right? I pulled my hand away, excusing myself to the restroom. In the hallway, I bumped into Nora. Lila, wait. She glanced around nervously. There's something you should know about the Thompson project. Everything okay here? Ethan appeared behind us, making Nora jump. Just girl talk, I said, matching his fake smile. The rest of dinner was torture. When everyone started leaving, Ethan announced he had an emergency meeting. Take my car, he said, dropping his keys in my hand. I'll grab a ride with Dave. I knew something was wrong the moment I started his car. The gas gauge showed nearly empty, though it had been full when we arrived. The nearest station was 20 miles away. The car sputtered to a stop on a dark stretch of highway. No streetlights, no houses, barely any traffic. My phone showed 1 bar of service. I called Ethan. Straight to voicemail. Again. Finally, he answered. Having car trouble, honey? You knew the tank was empty. Maybe this will give you time to think about keeping your nose out of my business. His voice turned cold. Nora told me you've been asking questions. Digging into things that don't concern you. You stole my savings, I said, my voice shaking with rage rather than fear. You destroyed my career. How is that not my business? I did what was necessary. For us. But if you keep pushing. He let the threat hang there. I started recording on my phone, hidden in my pocket. Are you threatening me, Ethan? I'm protecting what's mine. Think carefully about your next move, Lila. It's a long walk home. The call ended. I sat in the dark car, listening to distant traffic and my own heartbeat. Then I played back the recording, his threats clear and unmistakable. Opening my rideshare app, I booked a car. Not to go home, to go to Miles Harrington's house. It was time to stop playing defense. Ethan thought leaving me stranded would break me. Instead, he'd just given me exactly what I needed, proof of who he really was, in his own words. Miles Harrington's house looked exactly like I remembered, imposing and unwelcoming at 11 p.m. I hesitated before ringing the bell, but the recording of Ethan's threats burned in my pocket like a live coal. Lila, Miles appeared in sweatpants and a Harvard t-shirt, looking nothing like the executive I'd known. "What's wrong?" "I need to show you something about the Thompson project." His expression hardened. "Come in." In his home office, I played the recording of Ethan's threats, then laid out everything I'd discovered about the embezzlement. Miles listened without interrupting, his face growing darker. "I should have seen this coming," he finally said. The numbers never added up, but Ethan's explanations were always just plausible enough. "Can you help me?" "Yes," but his phone buzzed. He checked it, then turned pale. "Lila, when exactly did you access these financial records?" "Tonight, before dinner." "Why?" "Because someone just triggered our security protocols. Unauthorized access to confidential files traced to your old login credentials." He showed me the alert. "Ethan's covering his tracks, making it look like you're the one stealing company data." My stomach dropped. "But I didn't." "I know. But he's good. He's made it look like you've been planning this for months, since before you left the company." Miles ran a hand through his gray hair. "The timestamps on these access logs. He's been laying this groundwork for weeks." My phone lit up with texts from Tessa. "Police at your house." Ethan called them. "Get out now." "I can't go home," I whispered. "No, you can't." Miles opened a drawer and pulled out a key card. "There's a corporate apartment downtown. Go there tonight. Tomorrow morning, come to my office, officially, for an exit interview we never did. We'll need to be careful how we handle this." "Why are you helping me?" "Because 6 months ago, I let Ethan convince me you were burning out, that pushing you out was for your own good." He met my eyes. "I owe you better than that." As I drove to the apartment, another text came from an unknown number. "Sorry I couldn't warn you at dinner." "Meeting tomorrow?" "Nora." I didn't respond. I couldn't trust anyone right now, not even her. Especially not her. In the sterile corporate apartment, I sat in the dark, listening to distant sirens. Everything I owned was at home, where police were probably going through my things, finding whatever evidence Ethan had planted. He'd taken my career, my savings, and now my reputation. But he'd made one crucial mistake. He'd left me with nothing left to lose. Tomorrow, I'd start fighting back. But tonight, I let myself feel the full weight of what I'd lost, and what I still stood to lose. The morning meeting at Harrington Innovations felt like walking into a trap. Ethan was already there with Miles and 2 men in suits, company lawyers, I guessed. My husband's smile was razor-sharp. "Lila, thanks for coming in to clear this up," Ethan said smoothly. "We're all concerned about your recent activities." I sat down, placing my phone on the table. "Funny, I was about to say the same thing about yours." "Mrs. Winters," one of the lawyers began, "we have evidence of unauthorized access." "Play it," I interrupted, looking at Miles. He nodded and pressed a button on his desk phone. Nora's voice filled the room. "The auditors are asking questions. We need to move the Thompson funds now." Then Ethan's, "It's handled." "I've got a backup plan." "Using your wife's savings isn't a plan, Ethan. This is embezzlement." Ethan's face went from confident to murderous in seconds. "Where did you get that?" "From me." Nora stepped into the room, holding a stack of papers. "I've been documenting everything since you started moving money around. Here's the complete trail of the Thompson funds." "You backstabbing?" Ethan lunged toward her, but Miles's security team was faster, stepping between them. "Sit down, Mr. Winters," Miles commanded. "The FBI is already on their way. The only question is whether you'll cooperate." Ethan slumped in his chair, then turned to me with desperate eyes. "Lila, baby, we can fix this. Everything I did was for us." "No." I stood up, my voice steady. "Everything you did was for you. You destroyed my career, stole my savings, and tried to frame me for your crimes. The only thing you did for me was show me exactly who you are. If I go down for this, you'll have nothing," he snarled. "No money, no home, no reputation." "Actually," Miles interrupted, "we're reinstating Lila to her former position, with back pay and damages. The board approved it this morning." I watched the last of Ethan's control crumble as FBI agents entered the room. As they led him away, he looked back once. "I never thought you'd be capable of this," he said. "That was always your problem," I replied. "You never really knew me at all." After he was gone, Nora turned to me. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. We needed him to think he was in control until we had everything documented. I nodded, understanding now why she'd been playing both sides. Thank you. Looking around my old office, I felt something unexpected. Not satisfaction or revenge, but relief. The walls Ethan had built around me were finally crumbling, and in their place, I could see nothing but possibility. 6 months after Ethan's arrest, I stood in my old office at Harrington Innovations, now mine again, watching the sunset paint the city gold. My team had just launched a new security protocol, ironically, inspired by the vulnerabilities Ethan had exploited. Quite a view, Nora said from the doorway. Our weekly coffee meetings had evolved into an unexpected friendship. Different perspective from up here, isn't it? Everything looks different now. I gathered my things, ready to head home. Did you hear about the plea deal? 5 years, plus restitution. She hesitated. He asked to see you. I know. His lawyer contacted me. I closed my laptop, remembering the last time I'd seen Ethan in handcuffs. I'm not going. Walking to the elevator, we passed the conference room where everything had fallen apart. Through the glass, I saw Miles meeting with the board, probably discussing the quarter's results that had improved significantly since we'd cleaned house after Ethan's arrest. You never told me, Nora said as we rode down. Did you get the revenge you wanted? I thought about it. Honestly, by the time I could have really hurt him, I didn't need to anymore. That surprised me more than anything. Outside, Tessa was waiting to take me to dinner. She'd been right about therapy. It had helped me understand that what I'd thought was a desire for revenge had really been a fight to reclaim myself. Ready for your big date? She teased. It's just dinner, I protested, but felt myself blush. The architect I'd met through Miles's wife had been patient, understanding my need to take things slowly. Speaking of dinner, Nora said, I found something interesting in the old project files. She handed me a thumb drive. Might want to share this with the FBI. Turns out Ethan wasn't the only one running schemes. I pocketed the drive, recognizing that the work of rebuilding trust and accountability wasn't finished. Maybe it never would be. You know what's funny? I said as we reached our cars. Ethan always said I was naive, too trusting. But in the end, his biggest mistake was underestimating how much strength there is in trusting the right people. Driving home to my new apartment, I passed our old house, now sold to pay restitution. I didn't feel the pang I'd expected. Instead, I felt something lighter, not quite happiness, but possibility. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I'm sorry. Ethan, breaking his no-contact order again. I deleted it without responding. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Sometimes the real victory isn't in getting even, but in getting free.